Hey everyone, Ryan Young, Kama Jiu-Jitsu, and I hope you're doing well. I apologize I haven't been putting much up on the YouTube channel lately. We've been concentrating on our Patreon channel. In case you don't know about our Patreon channel, there should be a link here that you can go and click on. And what the Patreon channel is a channel where Professor Dave Kama puts all his technique videos on. So if you want to learn the Rickson Gracie Invisible Jiu-Jitsu, that's the place to do it. It's a database that we're building up. So I think we've got maybe 40 or 50 videos on there now, and it's growing. It's growing weekly. So be sure to get on right now. We do have a discount for those of you who sign up early, and prices will go up once we get our library filled up to a certain level. We haven't determined that yet, but it'll happen. So what I wanted to cover today was something that I didn't think I would have to revisit, but I'm having to, because a lot of people seem to have issues with it. So it was a video that we did a while back, and it had to do with why is there a bar on my blue belt. The bar is, I guess, your ranking bar, some people call it. It's typically a black bar, and you get your white stripes on it, and that kind of denotes the 5 different levels of a particular color belt. For some people, white belt has 4 stripes on it, for that make a 5-level white belt. Same for blue, purple, and brown. Black belt is different altogether. So although there are only 5 color belts in Jiu-Jitsu, each belt has 5 levels. Kama Jiu-Jitsu goes directly from white to blue. So a white belt is a pretty long belt without any kind of recognition at our school, whereas you might, after 3 months, get a stripe on a white belt, whereas you could be 2 years with a white belt and get nothing. That's just the way the Gracies traditionally did it, so that's the way we do it. Now, for somebody who comes in from another school, every school has their different criteria for what you need to know and accomplish before you get to a particular belt. And some people don't seem to understand that. They seem to think that a blue belt is a blue belt is a blue belt, just like a black belt is a black belt is a black belt. It's not really true. If one school requires you to know first 5 techniques of a 20 curriculum art to get the blue belt, that's fine. That's the first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what if another school, instead of teaching those 20 techniques in order, they teach it differently, right? So let's say instead of you learning 1 through 5, you learned 6 through 10 and then got your blue belt. You still know 5 techniques, right? So somebody looks at it and goes, okay, you're a quarter of the way there, so therefore you get a blue belt. And if that's the way they run their school, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if another school, let's say you switch, after you get your blue belt, you switch, you go to another school. Another school may look at you and go, wait, you're a blue belt, but you don't know technique number 1. You don't know technique number 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. So that doesn't make you a blue belt in our school, because the techniques that we have as the first 5, you don't know. So at a Kama Jiu-Jitsu school, what we do is we offer you 2 options. Option 1 is put a white belt on, right? Option 2 is somebody else gave you a blue belt, so we're going to recognize that. You can wear a blue belt. Here, I have to give you a new blue belt though, and it has a white bar on it. Instead of the black ranking bar, there's a white ranking bar. Actually, it's not a ranking bar, it's just a white bar, because you're not going to get rank on that. Once you start getting ranking, meaning stripes on your blue belt, then it'll go back to a regular belt. And that's not saying you're not a blue belt. It just says that for the curriculum that's at a particular school, you don't know it yet. But that's not to say you're not going to get there, but you will. So what people have is an issue with that. Not everybody. I know a lot of people who've come in and just basically said, no. I mean, we have 2. In fact, I have 2 students who went from purple belt and experienced the difference in what they know. It's not to say that they don't know anything. They just know different stuff, versus what we do at Kama Jiu-Jitsu, and have refused to wear a purple belt. Even with the white bar, they both went down to white belt, and that's fine, right? Like I said, I gave them the choice, and they both chose to go to white belt. The way they looked at it was this, and I'll just kind of quote them: it's a different art altogether, so I'm going to start from brand new. And And I respect that. And I told him, I said, you can wear your purple belt. I mean, well, a purple belt, just with the white bar. And both of them said no. Zach, who you've seen in videos, he just said, I'll leave it up to you, Professor. So I just told him, here, wear this blue belt with a white bar. And he humbly accepted it, put it on, and there's no big deal about it. And you know, with Zach, 2-3 months later, he was back to wearing a blue belt, and he got his bars back and then some. So he went from a 2-stripe blue when he joined us to a blue belt with a white bar. February of 2016, and 3 months later got the blue belt, but with 3 stripes on there. So he actually got promoted. So, and the reason why it happened so quick for him is because it's not like he came here knowing nothing. He did know stuff, he just didn't know what I required of him to know. But once he got that part down, his existing knowledge added onto it and took him up a notch. You know, a year after that, he's wearing a purple belt. So I don't see the big deal in it, right? But people say, you know, this one guy, he commented on the video, and it was just, well, what if? And, you know, what if I come from a school that teaches a wrestling background, and I go to a school that teaches a judo background, and I don't know what they know? Does that mean I have to give up my belt? Well, it depends on the instructor. But why does an instructor have to accommodate you? So what this guy also said was, you know, by you requiring the student to wear a different belt, that's the ultimate in ego, because it shows that, you know, whoever the instructor is that requires you to change a belt, you have such a big ego that you're not only going to establish dominance on the student, you're also going to establish dominance over his professor, insulting his professor and trying to erase his lineage. What? Does the belt mean that much to you? So what I told him was this. I said, look, if you don't like it, then don't go to that school. Simple as that. You know, here's a little story about me. You know, and I don't want to bring it about me, but since we're talking about this, and I keep telling you in all the other videos, it's a common recurring theme. Do not focus on the belt. Focus on your learning, because the belt in the end means nothing. The belt is just a piece of clothing. And then, of course, you know, I'm going to say it for you. Yeah, but Ryan, you're a black belt, so you've already gone through this. So it's different. You know, it's easy for you to say that the belt means nothing because you already have a black belt. So let me kind of give you a little inside baseball here. So white belt, I joined with Howson. Blue belt and blue belt 2 stripes with Howson. Blue belt, got my 3rd stripe at the blue belt from when I moved to California with Hoyce. Yeah, I think it was Hoyce. And then I switched over to Hickson School, you know, when the split finalized. And I was at Hickson's. I got my 4th stripe blue, my purple, my 1st, and my 2nd stripe on my purple. And then went to Ken Gabrielson School, and actually was given my brown, but and I said in another video, I was really stupid about it, but I just continued to wear my purple belt, and I refused to put the brown belt on. You know, that wasn't my call, that was his, but you know, that's another story. So I'm still a purple belt, and then end up leaving Ken Gabrielson's and just kind of bumped around for a little bit, and went to a school that was run by Roger Machado for a very short time. When I get there, I train with him for about 5 minutes, and he tells me, you know what? I think you'll be better off wearing a blue belt. So I said, okay. You know, he knew that I got my blue belt, my purple belt from Hickson. And I know, you know, as good as Roger Machado is, he is not Hickson. But I'm at his school, and I'm not going to show him any disrespect by saying, forget you, you know, this purple belt was given me by Hickson. And who are you to say, you know, to say that Hickson, you know, can't give me my purple belt and all this blah, blah, blah. No. I just went home, dug out my blue belt, put it back on. Simple as that. Was no big deal. Because of my scheduling and all that, I wasn't at Hodger School for very long. So, but anyway, I still wore my blue belt. And when I went to Brad Jackson School, and Brad, he knew about the demotion. And when I was at Brad's school, he told me, you know what, put the purple belt back on. Okay. Right? If my professor's telling me put my purple belt back on, I put my purple belt back on. So that I just continued purple belt, and then I was with Brad for another number of years, and then, you know, I got my brown belt from him. So I got brown belt twice. And then, you know, with Dave, you know, I was a brown belt for 4 years at Dave's, and He could have told me whatever he wanted. I could wear whatever belt he wants. And I can tell you that this is how Dave thinks of it as well. But let's say something would happen. You know, God forbid, Dave is no longer my instructor. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try to go to the closest thing that I can. And let's say I decide to go over to Rickson. And I approach Grandmaster Rickson. I just tell him my story. Hey, this is what's going on with me. I need a new instructor. Because as a black belt, I still want to learn. You know, I love teaching, but I'm still having to learn as well. That's part of my journey. But Rickson were to look at me, and he trains with me, and he goes, you know what? You know, jiu-jitsu that I do is so different. And I know that Dave gave you a black belt, but what you know as far as my version of jiu-jitsu, meaning Rickson's version of jiu-jitsu, is just 20%, right? There's still 80% more you need to learn. So therefore, based on that, I'm going to put a blue belt on you with 3 stripes, because that represents, let's say in his mind, 20% of the journey to black belt. Guess what? I'm wearing a blue belt with 3 stripes on it, right? Why? Because I want to learn from him. And as a condition of showing my respect and observing the fact that he knows what a black belt is, I'm going to wear whatever belt he tells me to wear. It's not going to take away from the fact that I'm a black belt under Dave Kama, right? Or that I earned a black belt by Professor Dave. It doesn't take away from that. I am still a black belt in that regard, but in a new system, new to me, you know, going back to Rickson, and if Rickson's criteria have changed over the years, because he's always evolving it, and he tells me that I only would be a 3rd stripe blue, then that's what I'm going to be until he says I'm something else. I'm not saying that this is you watching the video, but if you look at the comments on a lot of the videos, you know, people do get insulted by this, and I would say most of them are blue, maybe purple belts. You know, if you can preach on the one hand, you know, put your ego at the door, leave your ego at the door. But on the other hand, you know, you can't humble yourself to give up your old rank to be able to participate at a new school, right? Even though you don't know what you're supposed to know. And it doesn't come down to, oh, I can tap everybody there. In our video with Zach, he tapped everybody when he came to our class, right? All the people that I would typically put with somebody at his level, which means that I put my blue belts, none of them were high at the time. Well, he didn't beat the high level blue belts, but you know, the lower level blue belts as well as the higher level white belts, he tapped them all. He submitted them all, but he only did it with arm bars. He couldn't choke a single one of them. And I wanted him to learn chokes. So as a result, I gave him some assignments. At the same time, I changed his belt. I hope that kind of helps square things with you. Don't worry about the belt, right? And I'm gonna still get these comments, you know, Ryan, you know, who do you think you are? You're so arrogant, whatever. And you know, the thing is, for the naysayers, I don't give you one lick. If I have the time, I'll respond because I know other people are looking at it. But in reality, I don't really care. If I did care, then, you know, if I let a blue belt or a purple belt tell me how to run the school, then that's what we have, a blue belt or a purple belt run school. If they want to run a school, by all means, do it. Just a little bit of advice. If you switch to another school and you want to learn from that professor, just wear whatever belt you're told to wear. And if the belt is the issue, go to another school. Find another school with a professor who will say, no, yeah, you're cool. You know, just keep wearing that belt. Because you are going to find a lot of professors who are cool with it. You're going to find a lot who are not, but you're going to find a lot who are as well. That's all I got for you this time. But be sure to subscribe to the Patreon channel. One last thing. One of our members, Big Bob, and he's created a YouTube channel, and he's like a barbecue master. I mean, he's awesome. And he has his own barbecue channel. It's called Big Bob's Barbecue and More. Big Bob's Barbecue and More. He just launched a channel about a month ago, so very few subscribers. So jump on there. You know, if you like grilling or if you like doing barbecue, and the good thing about it is, and he's catered our Kama Jiu-Jitsu Texas Christmas parties the last 2 years, and I'll definitely have him in doing some other stuff for us. But he can do all kinds of other stuff to get creative with the grill and with the barbecue. You know, my favorite barbecue channel is that Barbecue Pit Boys. They're awesome, by the way. But you know, the thing is, they do it all in a certain way. Pretty simple, but it looks awesome. Bob, he'll kind of make these complicated rubs and all that, but make it simple for you. So if you're a fan of barbecue or grilling, do us a favor, subscribe and like his videos. Big Bob's Barbecue and more. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Thanks for your time. Take care. Happy training. Bye-bye now.